Fight and Talk back again, and today I'm delighted to say I'm joined by George and Harry Hardwick ahead of their fights on Bellator Europe 8. Lads, first things first, thanks for taking some time out to talk to us tonight. You're out there now in Milan. Can you sort of walk us through what the process has been like for you from sort of leaving Newcastle Airport, I presume it was, to getting to Milan and the sort of precautions Bellator had in place to keep you safe?
It's been good. Probably the best fight week hotel I've ever been in. We've got to spend the whole week here, which is nice. Yeah, we had to get 2 flights, got here, then we had to get a COVID test, which was awful. I hate stuff like they just ram it off. And then, spend 2 days, well, about a day and a half just locked in the hotel room, not really doing much.
It was the best night's sleep I've got all year. Best naps I've got all year.
Blackout curtains, king-size beds, mint.
Approve of the hotel then, do you?
Oh, yeah. The hotel,
right.
Like, we've had free food on it. It's been, the staff have looked after us.
Great to hear. If we look at the fights now, Harry, maybe not the SBG featherweight we were expecting you to be fighting. Of course, him and Dylan Logan had that bit of back and forth. It is Richie Smullen that you'll be facing on Saturday. What do you sort of make of Richie as an athlete?
I mean, as an athlete, he's not very impressive. As a fighter, he's quite impressive. He's got good skills in sort of weird places. There's some big holes in his game that have just lingered throughout his entire career that I can't imagine he's had much time to change. But I don't know. He's very bog standard, other than the weird leg lock stuff that he does. He doesn't present a lot that concerns me at all, really.
What sort of fight are you expecting from him? You mentioned them leg locks. I know he is known more so for that ground game. Is that the sort of fight you're expecting him to bring?
Yeah, that's his MO. That's what he does. He tries to put you on the fence, and he'll try and take you down, and he'll try and go through the positional hierarchy in jiu-jitsu. And if he can't, or if he's hurt, or if he's like stuck in bottom half guard, he'll go for leg locks. That's just what he does.
In sort of, if you do get your hand raised at the end of this one on Saturday, is there any other featherweights that you've got your eye on?
I mean, I wouldn't mind giving Logan a bat after a bit of back and forth, but I would just want another fight on one of these Europe cards. Really, like I would fight next week. I would fight in Paris. Doesn't bother me.
You mentioned that. I know you two aren't really big into ballooning after a fight. You more or less stay around your fight weight. Is that something that you will sort of make a conscious effort to do, bearing in mind that there is the potential for pullouts over the course of the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, but I'm still gonna have some good food after this. I'm I'm still getting a palmo. Definitely getting a big palmo or 5.
George, if we look at your bout now as well, it's down at lightweight. I think it's going to be what, a 20-pound difference almost in weight from the last time you fought in that Bellator cage. Is lightweight now where you're going to sort of see your career in Bellator moving forward, or are you going to try and fluctuate between the two?
Yeah, definitely. Lightweight is the weight that makes sense. It's where I'm not fighting giants. Like, I had this before other fights. I'd be walking around, I'd see my opponent, especially at welterweight and fighting at 180 pounds, and see this big guy. I'm like, damn, I've got to throw down with him. And I still would, and win most of the time. But now, just a few glimpses of my opponent in the hotel, seeing someone that's like my size, I can chop through that.
Nicolo Solli, you do mention that there, your opponent. I mean, as a fighter, he seems to be quite a fast starter. He's not somebody who's seen the third round. Are you expecting that quick start from him? Or again, what sort of fight are you expecting from him?
I'm expecting a quick start from him. He's quite wild, which is part of his strength and part of his weakness. He's wild. He likes to throw these techniques, but he leaves a lot of openings. He's kind of emphasizing them rather than the basics.
I've no doubt, of course, you see the fight yourself. You envision that fight being yours throughout. But do you see, if you look at your records, if you go sort of later on in the fight, do you see that really being where you become even more comfortable and even more dominant?
Definitely. I've fought harder competition. I've had more fights. I've been the distance. I've been in the hard situations in fights. I've broken bones and fought through it. I've got cuts and fought through it. I've taken shots and gone through it. And these are the things he hasn't been through. So this is going to be a huge difference. Past the 7th minute, it's easy to see me accelerating the pace. and having that experience in it.
Yeah, look at both of us. Neither of us have a padded record. There's like no padding on either of our records at all. This will be the first time in my pro career that I won't have fought someone with twice the pro wins that I have. All right, Rose had 7 and I had 4, but that's, close enough. This is the first time I've fought someone with a somewhat equal record ever in the pro ranks.
That was something I was going to actually ask you about, Harry. Obviously, I think there was one fight between you and Richie. If you look at your records sort of side by side, what do you make of his in comparison to yours?
Well, with his, he's tend to excel against weaker competition, but then when he fights the stiffer competition, he doesn't. Like, the 3 good fighters he's fought, Reese McKee, Luis Pena, and what's the last guy called? Albert Diaz, that's the one. But the 3 good fighters he's fought, he's come up short. He's all right when he's the hammer, but not when he's the nail. Whereas I've had a fair few fights where I've kind of, am I allowed to swear?
Yeah.
Where I've kind of fucked it in the early going, and had to come back from a big deficit. Like my last fight, I got like that horrendous cut in the first round, and it didn't really start the best for me, but I dominated every second of the fight after I got cut. It's just I've had the tougher fights. I know what this is like. I know what to do in a really hard, horrible, tiring, exhausting fight. Whereas a lot of these guys don't.
Yeah, he's a stubborn bastard.
I am a very stubborn cunt.
I mean, I guess this is one for both of you as well. You've both previously made the walk to that Bellator cage. It will be the second time, but I think I'm right in saying that this is still just going to be a one-fight deal for the time being. 2 big wins could definitely see you both secure multi-fight contracts. What would that mean to you both to sort of get on that global promotion on a multi-fight deal?
Well,
it would just mean it's next step, really. It's gone from, maybe like 1 or 2 years ago, I was fighting for fun. Wasn't like my future completely planned around it. Whereas now it's that next step where it's sealed. This is what I want to do with every ounce of my being.
Yeah, like it legitimizes this as a career choice. And it sort of gets the parents off our back a little bit about what the fuck are we wasting our time doing this for?
For you, well, not only for you, but for Northeast MMA, we're in for a big few next couple of weeks. Of course, we've got Saj fighting the night that we're recording this. Used to Adam Proctor fighting Saturday night, Cal Elnor, Fisher, Ryan Scope all fighting. I mean, how good's Northeast MMA right now, and what's it like to be part of that hype around it?
Well, it's really good because one of the weird little qualities that we don't really talk about as much, or doesn't get talked about as much, is that it's still people with their own individual teams where it's their coaches focusing on each other. But we cross-train with each other. We're like, like I've sparred Carl, he's sparred Burlington. We work with each other, and you kind of get that super camp feel, but without a lot of the downsides of super camps. You see when people, they go to like the big super camps in America, like I'm not talking bad about them, but like when some people go to ATT or Hoops Gym, and they don't develop because they're not getting any attention. But we've got the smaller gym level of attention and coaching detail with the individual athletes, and also that super camp feel because there's all these killers mixing in with each other and training with each other.
Plus, maybe it's just the Northeast attitude where you get people from like, the gyms from Middlesbrough, Sunderland, Newcastle. There's not a lot of like fashion fighters. People are fighting because that's what they want to do. There's not a lot of people fighting just to build a name and build a following. Everyone I know, everyone I've trained with across the Northeast, like you're saying, Cal Elnor, Adam Proctor, these are people who fight because it's just in the blood. It's what they need to do. It's not they're fighting for Instagram followers
or they're fighting to launch a rap career.
Yeah.
I know obviously the gyms had been shut for a few months. But I mean, you've had that unique training. Now we've spoke about this a little bit off camera, but what advantage do you think this has given you to being able to train together in the house? Some heavy sparring, some might say, watching them videos. What sort of advantages that given you going into this fight that maybe the other athletes haven't had?
Well, across the whole time, we're still bouncing ideas off each other, still training, still getting the drills in. There's one thing about doing your runs and doing your little MetaFit workouts in your front room, which is all well and good for staying fit, but you're not improving. You're just maintaining a level of fitness. We were improving the whole time.
Yeah, and there's little things that you forget that you can really lose out on very quickly, and they take a while to get back. Like just the conditioning in your legs, like the ability to take a kick, or the ability to like take something to your body, or the ability not to flinch. Whereas, we were swinging at each other in a very tiny space where we couldn't step backwards. So we never that stuff never went away for us.
For you as well, I'm not sure. I believe it's a 2 cornerman situation now. 2 cornerman per fighter come Saturday night.
Yeah.
Are, I think, always in each other's corner. This is the first time you'll be making the walk on the same night. George, I know your fight's been pushed up the card a little bit. If the commission allows and everything goes to plan, can I expect to see you both in each other's corner?
I'm not sure if I'll be able to make Harry's corner. I think they're very strict with what times the fighters are taken to the venue, but potentially Harry could be in mine.
Yeah, the situation, we asked Bellator about it, and the situation is Pete and Richie Smalling will be in my corner, and then they're down as George's corner. But if I'm fine after my fight and I want to corner George, just one of them will have to come back to the hotel. So it's easy, really.
So sorry, on that as well, is there only going to be X amount of athletes allowed in the stadium at a certain time from that?
I'm not sure. I've just got a schedule which just says when I have to be at the sort of transportation bay to go to the venue.
Spot on. Lads, finally as well, for let's say, I don't know, somebody that maybe hasn't heard of the Hardwick brothers, why should they tune into your fights come Saturday night?
My fights normally are a really high pace. Like I tend to not stop exchanging or doing anything for the full 15 minutes if I can. Pretty stubborn, weird techniques. They tend to be quite violent. I bleed everywhere. That kind of thing.
George?
It's just that we don't have staring contests. We don't let the lights get to us. We don't stand across the cage, just giving it your head. Maybe I'm fit. Miles away. That's not how we do it. We don't like downtime.
Yeah,
we get into the fight straight away.
Like if you ever see any of our spars, like our MMA spars, there's no downtime in it at all. Like we hate when you see footage of fighters sparring and they're just having a staring contest. It's crap. We're working when we fight the whole time. None of this Adesanya Yol stuff.
Spot on, lads. Thank you very much for your time tonight and all the best on Saturday.
Thank you very much, Jake.
Thank you very much. Happy birthday.